Is the 23rd of the 5th, 2020. And we four coaches from Japan, America, and the United Kingdom are all going to talk about things we can do to cope with this COVID-19 issue that we're all having. So what we're going to do this time is Brent's going to list some of these socio-economic factors that are influencing us. And we're going to analyze it and hopefully add some useful bits and pieces that will be interesting to us, but also help you guys watching live a slightly better life.
All right. Thank you for that intro, Richard. Guys and audience, for basically about the past 2 months, I've been talking with a lot of my high-level sources about what's going on in the world, what to expect after COVID-19, the virus is gone, and going into this COVID shock, right? Mm. And I want to have a program today that is very hopeful, and it's information that you need to know so you can be prepared, so you can start planning what to do now going forward into this COVID shock. I'm hearing stuff like the COVID shock might last until the end of 2023. Mainly, I'm talking around job layoffs. I'm looking at in April, I started to hear things like, okay, the unemployment rate in the United States is around 15%. And we know that those figures are kind of skewed because they don't include unemployed people who are no longer on benefits, temporary staff people, contract workers. So the real unemployment is probably more like around 20-23% would be my guess, right? And add on top of that, one outplacement company that I know out of the US was talking about predicting by the end of this year alone, an additional 4.5 to 5 million people, full-time employees, unemployed. The outplacement business, or helping people transition out of their job through working with a career coach, is already globally a 2.5 billion US dollar business, and it's expected to boom, right? So from that information, I started to ask what's happening over here in Japan. Now, Japanese organizations usually don't lay people off. They do a lot of cost savings. They cut salaries. Even the executives of the company, they take their pay cuts first before the employees usually. But what I'm hearing from a lot of the multinational companies working in Japan is stuff like, okay, we've already cut the temp staff. We've already cut the contract workers. Next thing is, by the end of the year, we will have a 20% reduction in full-time staff salary, and then 40% more going into 2021, and then we will start laying people off. But that is just a couple of industries, and I've been starting to be asked, are you able to help us with outplacement if we started laying people off earlier, like as in the end of this year? So right now is a great time to be a career coach. I really would employ any HR, CEOs, head of talent mobility listening to this message or watching this video today to seriously consider the well-being of their employees and thinking about outplacement coaching to help people either find a new job, change their careers totally, start out their entrepreneurship journey, or just basically look for ways to retire and get out of the system. So that's some updates from my end. I would like to hear what you guys have to say, what you are thinking about this, but there's lots of things that we can do and what we have already experienced in our journeys as entrepreneurs, as coaches, the ups, the downs, the different shocks that have happened, Lehman, 9/11, those type of things.
So actually, I was talking with Brent a little bit last night. You guys know I moved from California to Colorado to start a business right in the wake of this madness. So probably not the best of times to start a business. But the thing that I've been learning a bit from other mentors of mine are some of the best businesses have started during recessions.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
You might have, for example, in the U.S., I think they're projecting a 10 to 15% unemployment rate. And for me, I have clients, that I'll be needing. The thing is that 10 to 15% of people will be laid off or not working. There's still 85 to 90% of people out there that can be your client. So it's just the idea we have to swing how we think about things right now. And we've often talked, in our last time we were chatting, we were talking about, things like the ego. We were talking about meditation. This is also a time, I think, where we have to let ego get out of the way. Some of us are going to lose our jobs. Some of us are starting businesses and trying to get things to grow, and we have families to support. We may have to find other ways to make money that goes outside of that label of I am a such and such, or this is my career right now. My wife and I already went out and bought a miter saw, and we're going to start doing woodworking.
Awesome.
We're going to sell our woodwork. Why not? So, because I know I can make my business happen. I'm going to make my business happen, but we need a little extra income. So we're going to make that income happen. But that's the thing is we're going to have to be very adaptive in this situation. Some of us are going to be lucky. Some of us are going to work tech jobs where, who are not going to lose their work. Could I find work? Yes. But the work I could find right now likely is not where I want it to be. And I am here for a business. And so I'm going to make it happen. But the thing is, we have to be adaptive around this. We have to change our mindset because that's going to be one of the biggest things. Because right now everyone's filled with fear. Everyone's afraid they're going to lose their jobs. Everyone's afraid they're going to lose money. So now it's a time that we have to figure out, hey, what's important to us? First of all, we don't need a new TV. That might be one thing. We just got to give up the crap. That buys you time. That buys you, that keeps money in your bank. Don't get me wrong. We need to spend to get the economy going, but you got to be smart about things too. So, in some ways, for some people, this should be a really good wake-up call for like what is really important to them as well. And this is not probably, like I said, not the best time to start a business, but there have been many great businesses that have boomed out of a recession. And if I think one of my mentors was saying, I think 10 to 20% of jobs are going to be, businesses are going to fail. And I don't know if that's actually in my field or in other fields he was talking about, but he said those 10 to 20% of the businesses are going to fail. Now you're the one to take a place. You're going to fill that hole now. So, I think it's an important time for mindset, attitude change. Don't fall into the trap of the fear. Don't fall into the trap of what the media is pushing on us right now. This is a time for growth. This is a time to actually change this world. It's time to change you, time to make this a better place, and make your life better as well.
Absolutely.
That's my rant.
No, great rant. Be adaptable. Make use of all the skills that you have. Do a skills inventory. What is needed, and then put those into place. How you can help, right? So people, your woodworking business, people want that product, and you can help them have happiness through that. And that's using your skills to adapt to the situation.
I have a colleague I was with yesterday, and we were chatting, and he had told me that unfortunately, he's got some work right now, but he's working two jobs, and the one job they had to furlough him. He's done. He's like, there's no way they're gonna have me come back anyway. And I said, I'm sorry, man. That's it stinks that happened. He looked at me and goes, "This is the best thing that happened to me." I hated that job.
That's another good point.
And he said, now this is my time to figure out what I need to do. And there's things I want to do with my life. And so I'm going to go after them now. So I was like, awesome. Perfect.
Excellent. Yes, it is. It is a way to escape the job that you hate as well.
Yeah.
Can I throw a question out there? This is a really interesting topic because there are different kinds of people who think differently. Now, you just mentioned there's a person who was laid off, and they took it as a positive outcome, and they're moving forward. Then you've got the other people who would, be laid off and just start going down a hole, and they start getting very negative and start panicking. What's the difference between those two mindsets, what you think, and how can a coach help them get to the positive side?
It's a great question. It's a decision. It's literally a choice of like, do you want to let your life grow and prosper, or do you want to shrivel up and die? It's that fundamental choice. And once you've made that choice, you will then align yourself to the energies of one or the other, But that's it. Everyone is empowered enough to sort of like change your life 1% in one direction. So yeah, I think it sounds silly, but I think, it's choice.
No, you're spot on there, Richard. It is a choice. Do I want to survive? Do I want to live? Now, if the answer is yes, which 99% of us are going to say, yes, I want to live. So the thing is, what can I do?
Yeah.
What can I do? What do people need help with? What do I have to offer? And then I really, 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 one more time, really want people to start thinking about investing in themselves. Develop those skills. Get the help that you need. Get a mentor. Get a coach. Get somebody who is going to support you to achieve those goals and make them clear and tangible.
Sorry, I was just going to say, if you can't afford a coach, because let's be realistic, right? There's only a small percent of the population in the good times and the bad that can afford a coach, right? So if you can't afford a coach, what you can do is read a pamphlet or a book on coaching, get someone else to do that. It's not hard to make a basically good coaching session for each other, and then just buddy up with someone, and then you coach each other, and you can do it for free. That will work if your budget is low.
Brilliant idea.
Yeah.
And coaching is such a high growth industry right now as well. So developing those skills for yourself, you could even turn it into a business.
Yeah, you could. Just to be clear, like I reckon like you could make a coaching session that's like 60% good, right? If you just followed the following instructions, right? Agree that you're going to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. That's it. So only truth can exist, and anyone that doesn't diverts from the truth gets called out on it instantly. So that's the coach or the mentee, right? Or the coachee. And then what you have is you want to just set goal, talk, have an honest conversation about what's going on, and make 3 goals every week, and then provide an accountability to those goals. Like that is about 60% of it right there. If you do that, that's a 60% as good as a coaching session you might pay £100 for, I think.
Yeah.
No, I would follow up with that. I mean, Richard, I think it's your thought of, if you can't get a coach, I mean, if you can get a buddy, your significant other, someone who can give an objective and honest, that's going to be a tricky thing. You got to find that person who's going to be willing to be honest with you, and you're going to be honest with them. But if you can just find a person that can point out your weak points, your strong points, your blind spots, because a lot of times we don't realize that we're caught up in some sort of cyclic pattern of behavior until something happens like COVID-19, where it disrupts that whole system. And now it allows you to see from another vantage point and start to wake up. But even from a standpoint of not having some major event like this happen, just having someone look at you and say, no, you always say that all the time.
Yeah.
You're always making that choice. Why? And try to help you figure out why that choice is being made.
Yeah.
Excellent point.
A lot of us just run on programs. We run on these. We're like computers, and we have a software program in there that hasn't been updated in a long time. We just keep running the same damn thing.
Well, what do you think is the answer to your original question, Gab?
Yeah, I think you answered most of it. I think you said 60% of coaching is exactly what you said. I think the other piece, and I was actually going to ask Ryan another question, is that, you know, Ryan's talked about his woodwork. And I just wondered from his background, what made you get into woodwork, or how did you determine that that was another avenue for you to perhaps create another source of income?
So actually, that was more my wife's idea. I have a friend actually back in California before I moved, and he's an engineer, and he just does woodwork on the side for fun. And so we were just trying to think about something that we could do, uh, you know, hands-on, something where we could create something, make something, you know, and just to be part of that whole process. And then we're actually doing it at moments just more for something different to do, and just to see if we enjoy doing it, and at the same time, you know, sell some things. My wife is, she's posted someone else's picture up on Facebook Marketplace just to see if people would be interested. And we're just thinking planter boxes because it's the spring, and she's getting several people a day contacting her. How much are those? What size are you making? Or she's like, well, let's just do this. I said, works for me. I mean, on my weekends I'll do that, and I'll work on my business during the weekdays.
Wow. Wow.
Okay. So there's a message there, a concrete message. If you want to find some product or service that people find useful and that you're good enough to do, and then find a social media platform, use their Facebook Marketplace, post that thing on there, and they're getting loads of business. I wouldn't recommend, I mean, Facebook will work. I think they're a very evil company, and you want to be careful about how much you shake their hands with the devil. But for the purposes of marketing, they'll do a beautiful job. And I think that's a really good sign of how you can find customers for a business that didn't exist a fortnight ago, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, very interesting. And the other thing I think is, I was also wondering is, even people, you know, based on what Brent was saying earlier, even people who are in currently stable employment, what can they currently do to start looking and perhaps thinking about starting a side business to, you know, protect them from what could be coming down the line? And I think the other part of coaching is, how do you help people find out, or how do you guide them through the process of finding out what they're good at? Right? What makes them tick? What do they care about? What is the impact they want to have on other people? These are kind of things that also could be part of maybe helping them find direction as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I use the model quite often with people who come to me. They're frustrated in their work. They're looking for something deeper, something more meaningful. And it's created by one of my mentors, Marcia Bench. It's called the Authentic Vocation Model. And it starts out with life purpose, right? And then walks you through about 8 steps to financial reality. How can you make a living at doing what you were put on earth here to do, right? And it's a very simple model. It's very effective. I've worked with multiple clients that have ended up either changing careers totally or becoming their own person and their own business. One example was an ex-operations director, one of the founders of Amazon Japan, and was a roommate of mine back in university. And he came to me at a crossroads in his life and his career, and he ends up becoming a sushi chef and writing books about the Amazon way. And then how can you apply that to life? And he has his own very successful consulting business now. And I've never seen him happier since university, you know? But it's a model, it's a way, it does work for people. Early on in my coaching, when I used to self-coach myself before going and working with an executive, there's a very simple model out there called the GROW model. G is for goal, R is for reality, O is for option, and W is for will or way forward. And I would just jot down, what are my goals, or what am I thinking, what are my problems, What's the reality? What's really going on? What's the options that I have? What resources, etc. And then what do I want to do differently? Or what do I want to do this week? What can I do tomorrow
Yeah.
to make things different? And I use that a lot with myself. And it's very simple. GROW. Grow model.
Okay. I like that grow model a lot. That makes a lot of sense, and that resonates with a lot of stuff that I've done and my coaching clients have done.
Uh-huh.
One tool you can do to build on what Brent says there is you can have an amount of time that you're committed to every day to do a category of activity. So what the category that I think that will get you furthest is offensive business work. That is to say, building your business, not reacting to stuff that's coming in, but offensively going out there, doing a bunch of things to build your business. So if you say, I don't know, 3 hours a day on offensive work, a lot of the time people don't know what to do. They're sitting there saying, shit, I've got to fill another 2.5 hours and I don't know what to do. And then fine, then the task then is work out what you're going to do for 2.5 hours. But that keeps you honest, and that keeps you pushing ahead in the right direction once you do that grow thing.
Yes. Good ad there, Richard.
Excellent.
If I had 2 extra hours, I would be using those 2 extra hours to be telling people in my network what I'm thinking, what I'm working on, what I'm doing. Even if they can't help me, they probably know somebody, or down the road, it comes back. Hey, Brent, I want to introduce you to somebody on that idea you were talking about that business model that you were working on, that outplacement service that you give. Here's a referral for you, right? So those 2 hours I would be using marketing, telling people about what it is that I want to do, what I'm doing.
You know, it's fascinating listening to that, because like so many very accomplished business people that I know say stuff exactly like that. That they've even said, look, business really is just networking. That is it. But my whole journey through it has looked nothing like that, and I'm fascinated listening to these true words you're saying and that other esteemed people are saying, and I'm like, wow, the way I came up doesn't look anything like that. And I think for someone like you're very good at networking and getting to know people, and that's probably I could see how that would fit with the character type.
I think too, at this point in time, especially if you're in the midst of creating a business or working on that change in your mindset, is if you had those 2 extra hours and you're even stuck on the point of looking into networking, things like that, maybe that's a good time to look into yourself and your business. That could be a time that you just spend 2 hours using visualizing exactly what it is and how you want your business to be. And when it's successful, what does that actually mean to you? And what does that success look like? And start writing all of that down to the point where you feel like you can touch it, taste it, smell it, breathe it, become it. Because when you get to that point, you can then start to really truly envision that this actually is possible, that this can happen. And that's where that mindset growth comes into play, because you're going to need that. Business is it's a tough thing. There's a lot of ups and downs, but if you have that ultimate feeling inside you, like, this is why I'm doing this, and that's the big thing, is the why. Because a lot of people think, if you're going after just money and those things, if that's your why, I guess that works. But a lot of us who are going into business, our whys are deeper. They're almost spiritual in context. If you want to go that deep with it, that a lot of us are in doing our things eventually to actually serve and help.
Right.
But there's no reason why you can't help yourself. You can create a business where you're helping others and also making a lot of money and enjoying your life. But I think there's a lot of times we have blocks even towards that and accepting that. That's where sometimes I'll just take the time. If I have that extra time and I feel like I've gotten most of my work done, I spend on myself, making sure that I'm on the right path, I'm doing the right thing. And did my goals change? Because they do change, and that's okay. But like Richard was saying too, is even if you've got this ultimate goal. So I know for me, I'm a conceptual guy. I can see the big picture. I can see, I can see myself being the rock star, right? But it's the damn details that get there that always have gotten in my way since I was really young. And it's not until recently that I realized, oh crap, you know, that's probably going to happen in a year or two from now, not right now. So what goal can I set for today? What's my weekly goal? What's my monthly goal? And what do I need to achieve to get there? But keeping that mindset and that vision of that ultimate goal in mind all the time. And if it does change a little bit, that's fine. But having it so deeply detailed in your brain, in your mind, that you're like, that's what I want, and I'm going to get it. Because even like a mentor said to me recently, was like, work begets work.
Yeah, 100% it does.
You
Absolutely.
know, like, all you guys were saying is like, you might do a little bit of work for a half an hour and be like, shit, I don't know what else to do for the next 2.5 hours. Even if it's just working on what you're going to do for the next 2.5 hours, that's work.
Yeah.
And it's going to come back to you. Things are going to build. So, I mean, you just got to keep plugging.
Yeah, actually, you said that really well. And I really like what you just said at the end, because you got to keep on plugging, I think, is one of the huge challenges that I think every entrepreneur faces, just to sustain your dream, your goal, your vision when you hit these roadblocks, and roadblocks come to you. And it's like, you just got to keep on getting up and keep believing in what you need to do, and maybe adjusting, like you said. But sometimes, and I don't know if you guys have gone through this before, but you keep hitting these walls that push you back, and you think you've got a choice. Again, you've got this choice. Do I keep going? Do I keep my vision alive? Do I change it? Or, I've had enough. And when you're out there as an entrepreneur, you can't say I've had enough. You either have to adjust your vision, or you got to keep on going. It's just, that's just the way it's going to be. Right. I think that's a really, really big point.
Well, if you've worked out what your passion is and what you know is the worthy ideal, then you've decided before you've even started climbing the mountain. You're like, well, I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter,
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Find the energy somewhere to keep plugging along, and you just adjust course
Yes.
as new information comes to you, as new situations come to you. You just take a step back and adapt yourself, but you're still headed in the same direction, right? And going back to what Ryan was saying, or even what I was saying about that grow model and journaling things down, it sounds hard. It sounds like a hard thing to do, but like anything, you are intelligent people. You can sit down and do it once, look at your product of work, try to work on something simple, and keep building on it. And it gets easier, and it becomes a routine. And then your routine becomes a way of being. And it does get easier. And that having those plans and looking back at notebooks, sometimes when you get stuck, there was that eureka moment I had that is applicable now, but wasn't applicable then, right?
Yeah.
But just getting started, sitting down, journaling those things, and then talking to people about it, I find is, for my personality type, extremely helpful to get people to know what they can do to help me. And then they tell me what they want, what they need, and then I think, what do I have that I can do to help them? And it always balances itself out.
Okay, so one of the things that helped me coming up, still helps me now and helps a lot of my clients, is you can't have a working business by today. Maybe you can't sell one thing today, perhaps, if that's where you are, but you can always make it 1% closer to that ideal. Everyone can, anyone listening to this. So the challenge isn't, right, make a whole business by tomorrow morning. The question is, what can I do to make this 1% slightly more resembling something that's basically functioning? Can I do that? And the answer is always, yes, I can. And it's like, right, get on with it, get it done.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And actually, I have something called daily questions, and I go through these daily questions that I've created for myself every day. And one of them actually is, did I do my best to make a 1% effort to improve my business outcome every day? I read this to myself every day, and I answer this question myself every day. It just takes that 1%. Right. It really just does. You just got to keep at it.
1% growth every day with compound interest means in 3 months you don't even recognize yourself.
I
Wow.
love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Right.
It's
Right.
factually completely
Wow.
correct. If you're improving 1% every day, you will not recognize yourself in 3 months.
Yeah.
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 That's pretty scary because I don't recognize myself like every 3 months. I'm like, who am I now? Wow.
But
How's this
you know,
happening?
well, good on you. So do you three find that like upper limiting becomes a problem? Because I find when my clients are doing all the stuff that they've promised to do, in a week or two, they're savagely better than where they were a fortnight ago.
Oh yeah.
And then they look at themselves and they don't feel comfortable because the person staring back at them in the mirror is much better than who they know themselves to be in their heart. So do you guys see that? And if so, how do you help your clients with that problem of upper limiting?
If I recognize it in the client, I praise them. I praise them for being able to have made the progress and the change, and to verbally feed back to me what they have done, what they have been able to achieve, right? And don't you feel good about that? Now, let's not stop. What can we do in another 2 weeks, right? How many more options can come to you in 2 weeks? What's the plan? All right, let's keep checking in with each other. But you got to give that little bit of a nudge, but you got to give the praise, because people will start to go into the damn programming of self-doubting, self-loathing. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. Um, you did everything, Brent. You helped me to get here. No, I didn't do anything really other than support you, but these are all your ideas. You know, you're the one who made the efforts. You're the one who got there. Now, are you going to stop? Are we done? And sometimes they are done. They've achieved the goal. They're self-sustainable now. So the relationship doesn't need to continue except for maybe periodical check-ins, or, hey man, thanks for all the help. I wanted to see how you're doing. Man, how much they can achieve. But you just kickstart. You praise people. You help them realize that they can accomplish things. What do you do, Richard?
In regards to when they feel the upper limiting, so they've got better, and now that I tell them to be comfortable with the dissonance. So like
Yeah.
I warn them. I'm saying, look, if you actually follow this is happening in about a week. You're going to look in the mirror, and the person you are inside will feel not good because the person staring back at them is too good. And just say, just hold. And then this is the really difficult bit. I say, look, in 9 times out of 10, hold at this area for 3, 4, 5 weeks. And then if you can, you're good and we can build again. Because when I notice when the growth is too fast, they'll savagely do it, get way excited. We get excited as the coaches as well, because it's wonderful to watch. And then they'll find some freaking way to just 9+ times out of 10 to just do themselves in, you know?
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's actually the one of the mistakes I made earlier in my coaching career.
Where, we all do. Everyone does.
I had them, way on a really good curve, and I just said, "You keep at it," and then suddenly that's exactly what happened. But you're right. You've got to hold them there until they're comfortable and accepting, and that's the mindset that's really hard to build. Once they've accepted, that is in a way the new them. Then you can kind of build up after that. And it can take a week, it can take months, right? We don't know that.
Yeah. I'm definitely agreeing with all you guys. I mean, you have to have some time to process that. I mean, if you make such a huge jump, I think Richard was saying, it's like looking back on it's like you're too good. If you even take it from a physical standpoint, it's not uncommon for someone who has been overweight for long periods of time, for a long time, and they drop the weight so dramatically, and they basically become a whole different person. But even subconsciously, when they look at themselves in the mirror, they see this skinny person, but for them, it's happened so fast they don't realize, like they still think that they're larger, they're bigger.
Yeah.
And add that to the picture of that their life actually will change based off how people view them. And so there's this big separation on now. It's like I am almost like a brand new person, but I was comfortable where, even though they were trying to change, it's like I was almost more comfortable where I was, because now I'm getting different types of attention from people. All this is new information, and it just almost is like too soon. And I think that's the same thing with like psychologically, or from, as we grow as a person, same deal. Like you can have a major jump, and if you don't stay there for a bit and process that, it's very easy to go back to that old pattern, because that old pattern was, as much as it might have sucked in many ways, a lot of us sit in our, how do I put it? We're comfortable in our discomfort.
Yeah. It's resonant to who we are. It's resonant. Yeah. And then when you make that improvement, it becomes dissonant. And that dissonance is more hard to deal with than the pain of you having whatever problem it was that you had to begin with.
Yep.
Yeah. Weird, eh? Weird that it works that way, but it does.
Takes time to process new things for people, especially success.
Mm.
Well, one of my going back to what you were saying at the beginning, Brent. Like one of my clients, like he has a distribution business. I was talking to him a couple of days ago, and he was saying that what he was supposed to do was just chill out during this time, take it easy, take stock, see how the land lies. And he didn't. He had a chat with his business partner and said, right, we're going to go hard and we're going to go aggressive. And him and many other entrepreneurs that I know have had this explosion of growth and wealth, because they just took this chaotic time really aggressively and said, you know what, it's these times where fortunes are made. It's not the growth times, really. It's the crash times where most fortunes are made. And I'm shocked at the sheer number of entrepreneurs I know who have made ridiculous like growths in their business because of this chaos and madness.
That's right. I experienced a terrible year last year, and after this COVID-19 came out, I'm getting to the point where I'm in demand so much that I'm having a hard time finding time for my business ideas, because there's so many people out there needing the help that I can provide, which is great because I'm making up for a poor year, but I'm thriving, So look, if a small farm boy from West Virginia could move to Japan and get away with all of this, I don't see why anybody else couldn't do it. I don't consider myself the smartest person on the planet, the cleverest person on the planet. I just had ideas and I went with it and built support around them, and have always tried to do well for others, and that's a simple life, but it's led me yeah, Richard.
Sorry, I cut in prematurely there. I was just saying there's that point again, isn't it, of you consistently choosing growth. You just chose growth many times consistently, and you did well.
Hey, when you grow up on a farm, you grow things.
Yeah.
Which is why you like the grow model so much.
This is why yes, why I like the grow model so much, because my dad taught me how to grow things. But that's what life is all about. It's all about growth. Why do we have these hardships and hard times? It's not to kill us. It's to make us grow. It's to make us overcome what we don't like, right? What we don't want. Humanity is strong. And the strength together, we can grow closer with each other. I think people are growing closer through, using technology with each other now, having more conversations now, having deeper, more meaningful conversations now. Hey, man, I'm thinking this. How can I do this? How can we help each other? I love what I'm seeing. I love what I'm seeing.
Me too.
It's very nice. And I think the other part of it is that, you can reach all around the world, right? It's not just limited to your location anymore. And then there's a big plus in that. And you don't have to limit your thinking to, okay, I live in this country and this is what I can do here. But there are chances around the world that people need your help or need
That's
something
right.
that you have
That's
or
right.
something you can give.
So before this COVID thing started, I really wanted to have more face-to-face clients, just because I thought it's just much better energy. But I genuinely find it so much more difficult to market to a city of 90,000 people where I live in the West Country of the UK. That's infinitely harder than marketing to a global audience. That reaching a planet is easy. I can't reach my city. It's literally true.
Yep. I'm finding that too. Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't even imagine that the universe would help me out like this. But, I've got clients now in over, 13 countries.
Wow.
But thankfully, they're all almost on my time zone. It's all in Asia, right? So
it reminds me of that saying, be bold and powerful forces will come to your aid, or great forces will come to your aid. You know that saying? I can't remember who said it.
No, but I love it.
Be bold and great. Yeah, be bold and great forces will come to your aid. It seems to be true.
And that's why we are here for the audience.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And each other.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you all. That was a lot of fun.
All right. So just to summarize, you can easily start thinking about what your goals, reality, opportunity, and what you want to do today, tomorrow, this week. Take little action steps. Buy a book on coaching. Talk to your friends. Talk to your family. Let them know what it is that you want to do and start doing it. Take the first step. Maybe you're going to be out of a job. That's okay. You can create. That is the God's gift that you were given. The ability to create your own reality. And if you need help in creating that reality, reach out to those people who can help you that you know. Leave comments to us. We will try to address those issues. And be safe, be well, and the key is to be happy. If you're happy, you will be healthy. On behalf of this team, we love you, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks.
Take care. Good luck.
Thank you. Good luck.